Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy Monday to you all. Happy May 1st to you all. And, well, let's get into the new music because we are starting off the already busy month of May with absolute heat. SSERAFIM are back. They're making their third Korean release with their first studio-length album and the title track, as well as the titled album Unforgiven, featuring a certain Mr. Nile Rodgers, which is a wild feature artist to have. Kind of popped up out of nowhere, but it's really cool. Nile Rodgers, we'll talk about it in a minute, but LE SSERAFIM's Unforgiven. LE SSERAFIM were one of the first artists, like alt groups that we checked out on the channel back when we started it in October when they had their Anti-Fragile comeback. And admittedly, Anti-Fragile was not my cup of tea. It grew on me a little bit later once we kind of digested the song and things like that. But that album had some impeccable B-sides on it, like No Celestial, Impurities, good parts. Like, there were some fire B-sides on that album, and I'm so excited to hear what this next era is going to be like. Of course, we got the title track. We're going to check this out separately, and then we're going to do the album listen for it later in the day once I can find some reliable lyric videos and things like that. If not, we'll just resort to YouTube Music or Spotify, or whatever the case may be. But I just want to quickly riff off the so Nile Rodgers is an artist who is very much prominent in kind of era of music that I was listening to growing up in these late 70s, 80s pop scenes. Admittedly, I'm not that old. I just have a soft spot for that era of music. So I'm going to read off some of the music that he's known for. And if you know your 80s and 70s music, then you'll know a lot of these. This isn't off of just some random list. This is off the official Nile Rodgers website. So, Freak by Chic, Daft Punk's Get Lucky, Chic's Good Times, Madonna's Like a Virgin, Sister Sledge's We Are Family, a staple of the American TV commercial, David Bowie's Let's Dance, Duran Duran's The Reflex and Wild Boys, Madonna's Material Girl, Diana Ross's Upside Down. These are staples of the 1980s pop scene. And we're getting that kind of musical magic on a LE SSERAFIM track in the year 2023. That's a combination I never expected to see. But I'm very much excited for it. Hopefully, it's not just a sprinkling of Nile Rodgers and we get a decent chunk of it. But we'll see. Here we go. I have not seen any spoilers, anything like that, so I'm very much fresh for this. I've only seen pictures for it, so what is this going to sound like? Okay, a little cheeky FPV drone footage to start off. This in 4K. It doesn't feel like it's in 4K.
Unforgiven, I'm a villain, unforgiven, I could get there, unforgiven, I'm a villain, 수시대로 기억대로 unforgiven. Yeah, what you want, ripping on me, get the face, wanna shut me up. 산익감을 가도 배치는 머리 up.
So we really are going with a kind of yeehaw concept. I'm okay with that.
Let me clear by LE SSERAFIM. 내가 제일 싫은 건 내 근데물림. 어둠속 불에 켜 맞춰 rebelling. We gonna keep breaking rules, gonna give unforgiven. Yes, I was bleeding. 힘없이 늘 져야만 했던 sound. But I write.
I love the chord sequence in that pre-chorus.
Watch me now, now.
We are going with short film type MV, okay. You might have to listen to the studio version of the song on the album listen to get a real grasp of what the song is going to be like.
living 내 방식까지 원 없이 또 한국말로 아주 철없이 Get started, let's get started 미래 그 앞에 새겼던 나의 소리 신념이 지면 난 villain I'm not the Cinderella type of a girl Unforgiven, yes,
The top line isn't all that complicated, but I like that the bottom instrumental line is moving back and forth. That's nice. That chord sequence is so nice. It's definitely got that 르세라핌 energy down though. Because it's really got that kind of like high energy thing. The claps help too. Wrong build. Ooh. A little bit of extra sass from... That wasn't Yunjin, that was Jennifer on the track. And then the little trail off at the end. No real resolution though. Yeah, this beat isn't the most complicated beat in the world, but it's got movement, which is, I think, the really important part. Because the top line over this isn't too complicated, but because of the fact...
SSERAFIM.
Oh. No little special, like, word teaser at the end. Oh. I guess... Wait, so does that mean they're gonna be working on, like, a series setting, then? Because I'm pretty sure Anti-Fragile ended with Do You Want to Be Forgiven? And then this was Unforgiven. But we don't have a thing at the end of it, so are they gonna switch concepts next era? But... let us talk about the music. I keep getting interrupted with things I want to say. The beat for this song, I think, is what really drives the song for me. Like, the thing is, stylistically, it does have similarities to Anti-Fragile. It's got the repetitive top line, the melody, or the tonal quality of it really doesn't have much variance to it. But the thing I do like about Unforgiven more than Anti-Fragile and what they did is the fact that we have a lot of musical variance while the top line has that kind of stability and like the monotonous quality to it. She's gonna be a pain in the butt to find it, but you know what? Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna pull up a lyric video for this, because I know Zati Farhani's made one, and this will make it a lot easier for me to talk about instead of trying to skim back and forth through the MV. I will say this about the MV. It's really pretty. It's really well shot. I love that they've kind of gone with the mini film type vibe, especially that introduction, you know, the FPV drone flying through the restaurant, zooming in on Zuha at the table on her own, and then starting the MV. Lots of beauty shots on it. Lots of VFX, but it was all like tasteful VFX, lots of wide shots with environments, things like that. Really cool MV, one of my favorites of the year so far. But let me find the song, or let me find the lyric video for it. Give me 2 secs. The ever reliable Zati Farhani. Hopefully they make ones for the B-sides soon, because there are a few color-coded lyric videos for the B-sides, for like all the B-sides. But I haven't seen one that's 100% accurate yet. Which, I've run into too many issues with incorrect lyric videos, and they just kind of drive me up a wall, so. That is besides the point. I want to try and find, I'm pretty sure it's around here-ish. But we'll walk through it slowly but surely. like that little section where Chaewon is saying that I'm forgiven, I'm a villain, like that is very much reminiscent of the entity TT Fragile Fragile from Anti-Fragile. But what I like about Unforgiven is the fact that the chorus doesn't rely purely on the I'm forgiven, I'm a villain part. We get the melodic qualities coming after it. So it's almost like Chaewon has a what do you call it? It's almost like an interlude before the full chorus drop, which I like. I like a melody, and while I'm not entirely opposed to just having an entirely like rhythmic, almost rapping quality to the chorus, I much more prefer a melody. And we got a little bit of both on it, so I really appreciate that. And it's the lead-in. Because the lead-in with Sakura is much more melodic, but it's not entirely a pure melodic melody yet. It's got the rhythmic qualities of like a rap verse, but it's got the tonal qualities of a singing verse. It's just kind of bridging the gap between the two, because now we're into the proper like unison vocal section and everyone's singing now. It's that gradual transition between the musical phrases that really does it for me. And even there with Zuha having her like little rap verse as well, it's again like compounded on both ends by more melody, so it doesn't feel like it's just pure rap. And that was what kind of threw me off for Anti-Fragile. It's that repetitive entity TT fragile fragile. It's a case of we actually learned this very recently. It's called semantic satiation, when it's a psychological phenomenon where a word or a phrase is repeated so often that it loses meaning to the listener that's hearing it. So for like Anti-Fragile, they repeated anti-TTT fragile fragile anti-fragile anti-fragile so often that by the end of the song, the word anti-fragile being used in the song just lost all complete purpose to me, and it just sounded like noise. But for me, Unforgiven isn't the phrase that's being repeated over and over. There's a rhythmic quality that's repeated over and over, but it's not the word Unforgiven. Yes, it's mentioned a lot, but it's not the only word in the chorus, is kind of like the point I'm trying to get across. And that's why, for me, Unforgiven is a much easier song to listen to off of first rip. And given that pretty much every single 르세라핌 song has grown on me the more I've listened to it, I reckon this is going to grow on me a lot. Very cool stuff. Very interesting. I do wish we got a little bit more Nile Rodgers, like, up front. Admittedly, I think when you kind of go for it's kind of Western, but it's like a modern take on Western. Like, there's Western elements to it, mostly like in the MV and things like that. And his guitar parts with the song does match. I just wish we got a little bit more, you know. But I do like that. I do like his guitar inclusion in the song. I think it adds a little bit of extra flair into the instrumental part that you wouldn't really get on like a typical synth production in a way. There is just a little bit of extra sparkle from the guitar inclusion, and I think that's a nice touch. Definitely brightened up the instrumental parts, especially in the chorus, as the choruses are, until you get to the melodic elements, pretty minimal. I'm not gonna say it's like completely bare bones, because there's a decent bit of stuff going on, but it does add a nice little bit of extra color to it, which I appreciate. And I'm very much excited for the album as well. I'm going to go and hunt some things down, hunt the B-sides down, get all set up, and do an album listen. So if you are looking forward to that, keep your eyes peeled. If not, that is entirely okay as well. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. One last request from me. Let's work together as a community to bring a little bit of happiness back into the world. Just one small act of kindness, like checking in with your friends and family, picking up a piece of trash, holding the door open or something small like that. And know that if you're ever going through anything, however minor or major it may be, wherever you are in the world, Even though at the end of the day, I am just some guy on the internet who waffles about music in his free time, know that I will always be a friend, an ally, and a shoulder to lean on whenever you need me. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, spread the love, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.